This week we figure out that Eric's lust for darkness began at his orphan age when his only friend was a fern flower. This and more on episode 153 of Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, I am Josh, once again joined by the one of many Eric Hunters.
That's true. Damn it.
Over to my right. And we're back again with some more indie game goodness. Some things happened over the past week. First of all, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I am using a new broadcasting tool,
and it's trash.
so I'm hoping that I'm hoping that it doesn't fuck up. So,
like most things that I do in my life, I hope they don't crash and burn.
And like most things, they do. But anyway,
womp womp.
So hopefully that doesn't mess anything up. But so far so good. Just got to get a little bit used to it. I'm using the what is it, Streamlabs version of OBS. So there's that. What's been going on for you, Senor Hunter?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Been watching a lot of movies lately.
Horror movies?
Well, yeah, I like horror movies.
Yeah, I know you do.
Quite a bit, actually.
Is it, or was it good? Were they good?
Man, were they good?
Were they good? And if they were, in what type of way were they good?
Were they good?
Were they like B-movie good, or were they...
So, one of them I really enjoy. It's a French film. The American title is... Switchblade Romance?
That sounds emo. Sounds like a my kind... It sounds like a... what are they called?
The French title is Switchblade Romance. The American title is called High Tension. And
okay,
it's about...
They both of those titles suck in different ways, but go ahead.
A little bit, yeah. So the whole story, it's a French film. There's subtitles. So if you're already like, I don't like subtitles, I'm out. Which is fine, but the way that the movie's designed is like it's basically just the beginning and the end where there's actual talking. The rest of it is just like scary shit going on. So it's about these two women. They're kind of off for college, and they go to one of the family's houses to enjoy like their summer vacation or what have you. And then a deranged killer comes through and starts killing everybody. It's really good because they do a lot of things that are kind of out of the ordinary. And what I mean by out of the ordinary is like, so it's not a guy in a mask, or it's not a guy with a hatchet or a knife or a saw. You know what I mean? Like they try to stay out of those boxes that make a quote-unquote horror movie. And since it's French, and when you watch it, you kind of get the idea that the movie was never intended to be just for a French audience, because the movie's probably 90 minutes long, and 80 minutes of it is just sheer like storytelling. There's no dialogue. It's all just, this person runs over here and this thing happens and then they deal with it, and then this thing happens and they deal with it. So I feel like a lot of it they didn't have to worry about in terms of trying to translate it over, because obviously that's, as an American who watches not a lot of foreign films but enough where there's subtitles, it does get a bit daunting after a while, and you kind of detach from yourself when you're watching a film there's a lot of subtitles and you have to read a lot.
There's some Netflix shows that are like that. Like, I can tell that they would be good if I didn't have to constantly move my eyes down to read.
Because you feel like you're losing something because you have to retranslate it in your head. As you know, you're reading it, then you have to retranslate it back to what you're seeing. So,
although I will say that Netflix is doing this thing now, they're actually dubbing over a lot of movies and shows that they create anyway. Like there's a show called 3% and another one called Dark, I think it's called, or something. They're dubbed over.
Yeah,
it's still a little weird because you can tell it's dubbed. Obviously,
yeah. Like the connotations aren't the same, the mannerisms aren't the same.
There's that, and then it just like the voice doesn't quite match just the way they look in the first place. Plus, there's, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you can tell, like, you know how you can tell it's like done through a boom mic, you know, hanging over a thing, as opposed to someone like talking.
Oh, like ADR, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's a great movie if you're a horror fan. I recommend that one.
Have you seen Hereditary yet? I've heard a lot of interesting things about that.
I haven't. I have not.
A lot of good things about that I've heard.
I watched a really bad movie, which was Freddy vs. Jason.
Is that the first time you've seen that?
No, I've seen the movie countless times.
I have a lot of good memories with that movie. So I know the movie in itself is shit, but first of all, there are worse ones. Second of all, it's one of those even outside of the just having good memories with it. It's one of those movies that are just fun to watch, just because you're like, like Alien versus Predator. It's Freddy versus Jason. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's whatever. Who cares? just
whatever.
Let's see them cut each other up. So, but yeah, when I went to see that movie in theaters, and it just so happened that there was a really bad thunderstorm that night, and while we were watching the movie in the theater, the fucking power went out.
Oh yeah.
So that made it all the more creepy to watch, even though it was kind of silly, you know. But it was just interesting timing. It was a good time.
I had a similar experience with Saw 2, where I went with the girl I was dating at the time, and it was like during the day, which was the odd thing. Like we went like on a Thursday afternoon to go see the movie, and the power went out, and we sat there for probably half an hour, 45 minutes, you know, seeing if the movie came back on.
Waste of time.
Well, I mean, you know, we were kids. You were in the dark in a movie theater with your girlfriend? Yeah.
That was a waste. Waste of opportunity to at least make out.
I mean, there was touching. I don't know if there was heavy petting.
Tell your wife.
It was don't. But it was one of those things where it was like we were getting ready to get up, and it was like, you know what, fuck this. It's been 45 minutes. Like this is too long. Like, well, I'm sure they'll give us our money back. Like, let's just go and find another film, or you know, come back and watch it later. And then, like, as we were collecting our things, the movie came back on, and they actually, which I will give props to the movie theater that's local to me. When the power went out, 45 minutes went down, then the movie came back up. The guy actually jumped it back 5 minutes in the film, so that we knew what was going on. It wasn't just like, here's the movie again. The guy was like, let's recap the last 5 minutes, shall we? It
would have been funnier if he had actually come out on like a shitty microphone, like, all right, so like previously on whatever movie you're watching.
So they're all in a house.
Big Tech says it's easy for him to see the whole screen at subtitle because it comes normal after seeing it a lot. I think a lot of people in other countries, you see it all the time because most movies come from English speaking countries, as far as I know. Popular, anyway, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, popular, with the exception of like, you know, the like some French films and a lot of Bollywood stuff. But
God, that Bollywood stuff just blows my mind.
Did you see those memes?
They're great. They are.
Is that real?
Yeah, that is what's fueling the Bollywood community right now.
That craziness?
Fucking memes. Yeah. Because why not? Why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't you go to the extreme? Like, Jesus. It's amazing.
Man. Well, I think, have you ever had one of those, have you ever had like a projector? This is at an older theater, obviously, because it wasn't digital. But I had one that the film actually burned up on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was weird to see. Because it looks like the screen's catching on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, what the fuck? So, but luckily it was just that. There was still smoking because of that, but it took forever for them to switch it out. But that was interesting.
Wow.
It was a good time. I think that was when I was living in Hawaii. It was in an older theater.
Movies are weird.
Yeah. They're good stuff, though. That's another podcast I'd love to do sometime, is like an interesting movie podcast, but...
Sure.
Anyway. I digress. You know what else I do?
Rub one out for your country.
Gotta salute somehow. But I also take any news injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an indie news injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
This week on Indie News Injection, we have a couple of sequels to talk about.
Just a couple.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to skip to the second one and then talk about the first one that's listed. Just so you know.
No clue what's going on.
Just so you know. Hold on a second. So I'm still getting used to this new streaming thing with Streamlabs. There we go. Okay. So the first one is Secret Neighbor, which is the is it? I guess it is a sequel to Hello Neighbor. If you don't remember what Hello Neighbor is you are a guy who moves in across the street from this guy who's creepy.
Super weird game.
Boards up his house. The whole house is like a fucking fun house. And he's hiding something in his basement, and you have to like sneak around his house without him catching you. It is really, really weird. Really buggy, but really interesting concept. We talked about it before it was cool. When it was in Kickstarter, actually. It was on Early Access, or on Peep Show. And so Secret Neighbor... Let me get to the right page since it's out of order, is an asymmetrical multiplayer in the, of course, the Hello Neighbor universe. So I believe you play as kids sneaking throughout this guy's house, as the characters are wont to do in this particular game. And I believe one other person plays as the neighbor. And I think this is in response... I mean, I don't know if this was their plan the whole time, but, you know, the popularity of things like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, those games, it feels like this is in response to those kinds of games. And, you know, maybe they liked it, or maybe they're just trying to cash in, who knows. But as long as it's done well. But, you know, the neighbor being the monster in this situation, and the three kids being the ones who are trying to survive. Do you like those asymmetrical games?
I don't mind them. I don't go out looking for them, though. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So, have you ever played any of those?
Yeah. What's the one that comes to mind? What was the, like, super popular one? It was, like, came out, like, 2 or 3 years ago.
Dead by Daylight?
Is that what it was?
There's only two popular ones I can think of. Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, and Dead by Daylight was first.
I played Friday the 13th. That is not a good game.
There's a lot of issues with that game. Yeah.
Maybe
Dead by Daylight, I think, is the better one out of all of them.
Let me see some screenshots.
As a matter of fact, bonus news, Dead by Daylight, because I forgot to add it, but Dead by Daylight actually is coming out with a new psychopath monster guy. It's a murderous clown.
Really?
Yes.
Why
is this not there?
I don't understand. It's not letting me in to look at Dead by Daylight's website.
Whatever.
There's
supposed to be text to the right of the news image, but for whatever reason,
there isn't.
It's not there.
I feel like these games have a lot. This style of game, I don't want to say genre because I wouldn't call it a genre, but the style of game has a lot of potential. And you would think that with a name like Friday the 13th, they would have been the one to do it, and it crashed and burned.
That was development hell.
True.
Which happens a lot with licensed product, I think. Probably because it's like a too many cooks in the kitchen sort of thing. And then people start pulling funding, and then you have to find other places. And
sure.
Whereas I think something like Dead by Daylight had a set scope already, and they didn't deviate from it as much.
That makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. I like what like everything when it comes to Hello Neighbor. Like, I think everything about it is just like exactly how it should be. It's perfect. Like, it's that right amount of creepy, it's that right amount of mystery, it's that right amount of everything. So I look forward to seeing what the outcome of what Secret Neighbor is going to be, but I'm also going to stand clear.
Fair enough. So anyway, keep an eye on Hello Neighbor's like news feeds and whatever to get more updates on Secret Neighbor. Next up, get used to this whole thing. Again, there's supposed to be like I usually put some stupid shit next to these news things to fill in that space over there. But for whatever reason, it's not working. It's kind of bugged out. But whatever, we have this tip jar, so feel free to fill that with bits and tips and
there you go.
Subscriptions and whatever.
And not the tip of your penis.
Well, sure, why not?
All right.
Okay.
It's
Next up.
weird.
Oh, I know why. No.
You know why it got weird? Well,
nope,
we
never mind.
talked about penises.
Nope. Didn't work. Anyway, next up. Same thing, speaking of sequels, The Culling II. So following this
confused
piece of information, and we can mix it into the discussion point I have listed for games not being finished. But to talk about this first, The Culling II, if you don't remember what The Culling is, The Culling was another Battle Royale game. It was actually out before... might have been out before Battlegrounds. I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyway, it was a Battle Royale game, and very much like the Hunger Games kind of style, where it would set like things off in certain quadrants or whatever sections of the map. Right. And then start pushing you towards the middle with like poisonous gases or whatever, and the weapons you pick up, you try and kill everyone, that sort of thing. And there was like a cornucopia in the middle of weapons and sort of shit like that. So very Hunger Games-esque. But there was a lot of issues with the first game and updates that didn't follow through with like adding content and all that sort of stuff, and people got pissed off, understandably. But now all of a sudden they're announcing The Culling II, and everyone's like, what happened?
You haven't finished the first one.
What? Like, yeah, you haven't finished the first one, and then whatever's going to be in this game, why not just add it to the first one?
Right.
I mean, that's what you were going to do in the first place. Or if you're going to rebuild it from the ground up, just say, like... Because there are other games that have done something like that, like Halcyon 6, and then Kingdom. They came out with, like, new versions of it. But it was the same game with, like, better features, better mechanics, like, that sort of thing. Why not do something like that and then just give it for free to the people that own the first Culling? Because that's bullshit otherwise. This is like you're just stealing money at this point. Not that people will... I doubt the people that feel, gypped over by the first one are going to pay for the second one. I wouldn't, if that was the case. I mean, I have the first one, but I got it as a review code, so I'm not getting gypped, at least.
But you fancy.
Yeah, I know. I'm so special.
So special.
But, I don't know. Just... I don't like to talk shit, but that's bullshit.
It's pretty shady.
And Ark didn't do such as bad of a thing because they were still working on Ark,
right?
When they came out with that DLC, but it's still kind of the same thing. Like, why? Like, you haven't finished your first thing. Like, I don't know.
Man, that's such. I mean, so playing devil's advocate, when was it over? Is that deemed by the developers? Is that deemed by the publisher? Or is that deemed by the fan base? Because...
Well, no, I'm pretty sure they straight up said that they're not going to...
that's what I'm saying. So, like, if the developers thinks that this game is done, there is nothing more we can do with this game, we might as well make something else.
Make a new IP then, at least. Because otherwise, then, if you make a sequel, unless it is completely different, which defeats the point of a sequel,
sure.
Why are you making a sequel? When the other game has not been... promises were not fulfilled.
Yeah. No, I mean... So, what else have they made? Well, like, what is their history?
Good question.
Other than the Culling, I don't really know anything else by this company.
I'm trying to do it, but my thing's being kind of slow right now. So.
Oh, your thing's being slow. That's okay. You ready for it?
Yeah, go ahead.
You ready for that?
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this? Lynchdom Battle Mage?
Battle Mage sounds familiar.
And that's the only one listed under games.
All right.
That's strange.
By the way, the announcement of this game is only 6 months after they officially abandoned the first one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Wow.
To point that out. So, I mean, maybe hey, someone out there, that's not me because I'm busy, tweet at the devs of the Culling, which are... Do you have that up still?
Oh, yeah. Xanavant? Xaviant.
Xaviant. Someone tweet at them and be like, just ask them, what the fuck? Like, why? Explain yourselves.
What is going on?
Which I'm sure they've actually have been asked multiple times, but
sure.
I don't know. It seems like bullshit.
I don't know. I mean, it could be a multitude of things. It could have been as simple as we need to make a hard right-hand turn here, and we need to change what we've done to turn this business around. Fine. It could have been, let's bring in a private team of people to try to fix this and make it work for us, and it was their suggestion to essentially abandon the first one and make a sequel. I mean, whoever's behind the wheel is not doing a good job.
Well, the reason I moved this to second is because it went right into our discussion point, which is games that were never finished.
Sure.
We try on Indie Game Riot, since the very beginning, to do our due diligence with the games and pick games that we think, especially when it comes to Peep Show, that we think have a high chance of not only success, but of not just success, but of even just being finished. Because we know early access and especially things like Kickstarter, don't always pan out.
Sketchy.
And I'd like to say we have a very strong record. It's not 100%. There are a few, like there was this one Prehistoric Kingdom, I think it was called, or something like that. It had something to do with dinosaurs. That never got finished, and maybe one or two others, but we've done a pretty good job. That said, for you, have you ever supported a game that in the end screwed you over because they did not provide what was promised?
Of course.
Okay.
I can even tell you what the game was. I have to look it up. It was a game I kickstarted forever ago.
Was it the Tim Schafer one?
Which one was that?
Starbase?
No, God, no. I didn't. No. Ugh. That poor game. That poor game. That game could have been so good. That game was right up my alley in terms of like management simulators, like what I really wanted, and they just dropped it.
Well, while you're looking at that up, another question, and for audience, whoever, for you as well, is: are there games like what are the most prolific games that you were just looking forward to that were in that stage of development and they just abandoned it? So Starbase, whatever it was called.
Starbase 9 or Starbase DS9 or
Yeah, whatever.
9DS, something like that.
What games were you just like, what the no?
Obviously, I was the idiot that backed Mighty Number 9 at a fairly high tier.
Well, that game was technically finished. It was just shit.
Oh, does that not count?
I mean, I
don't know. Does it not count?
it wasn't abandoned. It was just bad.
It was really bad.
I was
So
never a
bad.
Mega Man fan in the first place.
Oh, see, I love Mega Man.
They're coming out with a new one, by the way.
I know. I'm really excited for it. 'Cause I'm a piece of shit. All right, let me just go into.
There's a recording of me somewhere playing Mega Man X and just completely freaking out because I cannot. I can never grasp the concept of the game mechanics for whatever reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. And I
I
never liked that game.
That game's amazing.
I was never a Nintendo fanboy. I mean, I was for a little bit, especially when it came to just the consoles in general, especially like the N64.
Yeah.
But like the original characters of Nintendo, like I was never a Zelda fan. Mega Man. There was another one. Kirby, I've never really gotten into. Things like that. Of course I like Mario, but it's like Mario's just fucking shoved up your ass everywhere you go. So
Yeah, you cannot avoid Mario. Oh, that's a fucking news story for you. That they announced the new Smash Brothers for Switch. And apparently the gaming community is up in arms because Waluigi isn't a character in the game. So they have been berating the developers.
Okay.
To the point where the developers have been blocking people on Twitter.
I thought, though, I mean, not that that's appropriate, but I thought one of the big things about the new Smash Brothers was that it's like literally every character from the previous titles and more.
Right.
So why is Waluigi not in it?
Because he's never been in a Smash Brothers game.
Hasn't he?
No.
Oh.
He's never been.
I swear he... Wario was, right?
Wario is, yeah. No, Wario is a huge player in that game. They do very well in taking care of him, but no, that he's never... Waluigi's never been in the game.
That's kind of surprising. I mean, have they announced every single person from the roster yet?
According to Nintendo, yes, but that could always mean that they changed their mind.
I was gonna say, like, there's still a chance they could end up showing up.
Yeah.
Although, if people are gonna act like that, I personally would be like, well, fuck you, out of spite, and just not put them in.
Yeah, because it's why waste your time?
You're all our
Here it is.
assholes. You don't deserve Waluigi.
Elysian Shadows. It's a next-gen 2D RPG for the Dreamcast, Steam, and guess how long this was?
The
The
Dreamcast.
Ouya. Well, yeah.
The Ouya in general was another one that everyone just... I mean, it's not a game, but that was... talk about just fucking dropped.
Something else that I backed
You're not
at
gonna
a
judge.
fairly high tier.
Probably a good thing you're not the one picking peep shows.
Yeah, no, when it comes to... I stopped backing any Kickstarter project, regardless of how good it sounded, because I just couldn't afford it anymore. So the last update I got from this game was January of 2017. That was the last time I got an update about this game coming out.
And there's just zero communication as to what's going on.
No, it's...
Have you contacted them?
No, I probably should.
Email them like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, because they owe me $40.
I mean, there has not been a precedent set yet, but there was a court case in Seattle a few years ago regarding something like that.
Oh, about the backing and then not seeing the return. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
They ended up settling it, which is why there's no precedent, in order for other cases to take place. But never know.
I mean, it's like anything else. Like Kickstarter tells you straight up that you are not an investor. You are freely giving your money away to this project, regardless if it makes it or breaks it. I mean,
Yeah, but you still you're not giving your money for an investment. That's
Right.
what Fig is.
Which is why Fig exists.
But
Because of that.
you're essentially purchasing.
It's I would describe it as pre-ordering with the intent of getting.
Okay, so if you pre-ordered a
for
game
pre-order.
at GameStop and you pre-ordered Special Edition,
Yes.
which includes a statue, and then they're
No,
like,
it's
"Sorry,
a
guys,
It's a blow-up football.
whatever."
It's gonna be.
But the point is, then you go to GameStop on the day that it's due, and you're like, "Hey, where's my game?" And you're like, "Sorry, guys,
Right.
they're not doing it. Can
Sure.
I get my money back?" No.
Right. No, I see where you're coming from. The problem is Kickstarter doesn't work that way.
Well,
So.
they're gonna get a kick in the ass pretty soon from someone.
Fuck, I don't know, man. It's been going on for forever.
I know. I can't
Like-
believe it hasn't happened yet, but I have to think it will.
I mean,
Especially if
Did
it comes
you-
to like a big, like, especially those higher tiers, or someone's dropping like a good wad, on
right.
there. So
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, the ones that seem to garner the most money or the most attention, they always release, regardless if the project is finished or not. There was always some sort of product at the end of the
right.
day.
And in that case, I mean, you may not be happy with it, but at least there's
Something.
something.
Right.
And and at that point you're like, well, I mean, I understood the risks, but they
Sure.
still ended up, they technically have provided their end of the bargain to me. So
Yeah. Luckily, the only one that hasn't is this past one, the Silesian Shadow, which I kind of want to contact them now.
yeah, I would. That's a long time to go without an update for backers.
It's been over a year. So
Well, do you have any other thoughts on unfinished games?
don't kickstart, back, or pre-order any games whatsoever, regardless of what's offered. Just don't do it. Just stop it. Quit giving your money away
It's a little cynical.
for things that don't exist.
It's a little cynical. I have to disagree, but definitely do your due diligence and be cautious. So, my thoughts on that. Anyway, you know what you should not be cautious doing? Starting riots. This week on Starting the Riot, we have a game that may not be safe to play on Twitch.
Why would that be?
Because there's nudity.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think there's any nudity in this particular thing. If there is, whoops. Don't flag us.
Strike.
Anyway, it is called Lust for Darkness. Lust for Darkness is a horror game, not a porn game, as
you say.
it may be seen as. It doesn't help that they're where is their description? A psychological horror of seeking satisfaction on the border of two intertwining worlds, an intriguing plot with erotic and occult themes. So they pound the theme of erotic and occult, which is why people think, oh, this is like a porn game that's just a little bit creepy, because they pound that home. And maybe they're doing that because they know, sex sells or whatever, but I do have to say that this game is not a porn game. There is nudity in it. And some lewd acts, that sort of stuff. Thanks, Eric, for that. But what was I saying?
Lewd acts.
Lewd acts.
Not porn.
Yeah.
Although it's porn. Bro.
But it's one of those things that lends itself to the story. It's very, very narrative-based horror game. So there was a movie that I cannot think of now, but that kind of gave me the same kind of feeling that this did. A very uneasy creepiness that ended up sucking the main dude into this horrible cultish sex thing. Ended up cheating on his wife and abandoning his family for a short time. This is what this kind of feels like to me. I cannot remember that movie.
I have no idea.
But anyway, it seems like, from what I understand, and from what little I've played, is that you're this guy searching for answers. I'm trying not to spoil a whole lot, but you're this guy searching for answers at this mansion. There's a lot of like hellish demon worship type shit going on, including which happens to include a lot of sexual things. And you slowly find yourself falling deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole, and end up like getting involved with various characters, and it's there are some. This is not at all for under 18, legally speaking.
Why? Because there's a lot. Because it's a porn game.
I mean, I'm not just talking like. It's not, like I said, it's not the focus as it may seem, but there are more than just boobs being flashed in there. Like, there's some straight up cunnilingus, you know what I mean? Like, to a rhythm. No.
So it's
no
the
less.
Culling II, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, sure. The Culling II.
There you go.
The Culling II. Cunnilingus.
Cunnilingus. Cunnilingus.
How many times can we say an uncomfortable word for our audience?
Cullingus.
Thank you. So Lust for Darkness is by Movie Games. Currently out on Steam. Windows only, $14.99.
Not bad.
It's not too bad, especially for how good it looks, just graphics-wise.
Well, and the lore too. Like, I'm really into the idea of the lore. So
yeah, it's they take a lot of inspiration from Lovecraft.
Yep.
So like the Cthulhu type shit, insanity in general. If you watch the trailer, it's a good trailer, but it just reminds me a lot of American Beauty, because it's like a naked chick laying down,
right,
and a bunch of rose petals falling.
As you do.
Yeah. I guess I'm not sure what the metaphor there is with the rose petals, to be perfectly honest. I guess it's just because it's considered sensual.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of cool too. There are demons in this game to add, so there's like, it's not just creepy. There are like some like more direct horror to it.
Sure.
And then again with the Lovecraft inspiration, like some of the characters wear these masks that are like very Cthulian. Is that a word?
Cthulian?
Cthulian.
Or
yeah.
Leviathan?
Sure. With the tentacle face.
There you go.
You know, it'd be even creepier.
The tentacles were penises?
That, or the tentacles were coming out of the vagina during the cunnilingus. Yeah.
That would be super creepy.
Let's
You're right.
put that into your minds, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome.
Yeah. You are welcome.
The character's name is Jonathan Moon. The whole reason that you go to this place is because you get a letter from your wife, who has gone missing about a year before the letter arrived. And of course, you follow that lead to this place. And eventually you do find yourself in an actual hellscape. They call it in this game Lust. I don't know how you actually pronounce it, but that's how it's spelled. LUSST''GHAA. How would you pronounce it?
I wouldn't pronounce it at all. I'd just skip over it.
Does Twitch just outright ban anything with nudity, or is it more depictions of sex acts?
No, it's not that, because I've seen quite a few videos be fine depicting sex acts with no nudity. So,
well, on the other hand, there's people that just straight up like show cleavage and they get flagged.
Really?
Like cam girls, you know what I mean? They're like, I'm a gamer, when her boobs are just about to bounce out of her shirt. You know what I mean?
Oh, is that not part of gaming?
Oh, were you doing that?
I mean, I've got some fair cleavage.
We judge your cleavage to be fair.
There you go. And hairy. And hairy.
So you're moving in and out of this mansion that you end up going to, and which is where you find the demons, of course, and you uncover more of the mystery. You figure out what kind of experiments they have going on, and of course, for those of you who are in it for the sex, there's that as well.
There you go.
Anyway, original soundtrack by Draco Nerid.
No idea who that is. Would you like a shitty review?
Sure. What's
This comes
go
from... Oh, it's for Lust of Darkness.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Okay. This is user... Fuck, I hate people. Valter Minerin? Valter Minerin? VALTAMEREN.
Okay.
Yeah. 9 hours. Not recommended. Expectation: Eyes Wide Shut meets Hellraiser.
Huh.
Reality: terrible voice acting and a story that will leave your brain matter leaking all over the floor due to liquefaction by stupidity.
Wait, liquefaction?
Liquefaction by stupidity.
Now I'm imagining what exactly liquefaction is.
No idea.
That's the cunnilingus that we were talking about.
There it is. I knew it would be a short game. Not very worried about that. The game was so good at building tension, and when it gets to the end, it's so fucking unreliably stupid. It will leave you with a half-cocked snarl, a hole in your wallet, and a hole in your satisfaction. At least you get some high-quality prolific and, I don't know, it's bleeped out, motifs to keep you company. I rate this game an E for effort.
That review, I rate that review full of erotic and occult themes.
There you go.
Because there was a lot of that review left me hot and bothered.
There you go.
Especially bothered. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's always nice to hear these wonderful, trustworthy reviews from Steam. If anyone knows whoever the fuck that name was,
yeah,
feel free to tweet them.
Volter?
I really wish there was a way to contact.
Yeah,
I really wish. Come on. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? We're not going to talk shit on. Orphans, because that's coming up in Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
This week on Peep Show, we're talking about Orphan Age. Once I have the thing up and running, because I still don't know how to fucking do this yet.
It's fine.
Hold on a second. It's gonna be there. Hold on. There it is. All right. Orphan Age by Black Flag. That almost came out very wrong.
Yeah. Bad.
So they're looking for.
Switch.
Man. Anyway, they're looking for $28,937, which I believe is. I forget what the original. They're
25,000
looking for. Is it pounds? I thought they were, because they're in France, so I thought it was francs.
Euros.
Are they? Oh no, they're in the euro now, aren't they? I mean,
Everybody's
look at me living in the 90s. So anyway, they're looking for euros, 25,000 euros, which equals $28,937. American, they're currently at 22,300.
So close.
They're getting there with 8 days to go.
Yep. As of this recording.
You know, after Eric just shit all over Kickstarters and stuff like that. But you know, I believe I have a pretty good track record of picking games in Kickstarter. So you know, you can trust me. For the most part.
You can trust me.
Disclaimer, I don't have any control over what they do. Anyway, Orphan Age is a dystopian take on the life sim genre, which I really like this. Where you play not as soldiers of war, but as the children left behind. However, with that, when they say it like that, it reminds me a lot of This War is Mine. War of Mine, I mean.
That's what I was thinking.
Because that was kind of the same thing with the survivors of war, not the soldiers, trying to, and you're basically managing them. The interesting one of this is that it's not 2.5D, I guess you would call this War of Mine. It's top-down isometric, but still 3D. And of course, it's all with kids who are homeless and orphaned, living on the streets and trying to survive that way. This War of Mine was really good, but if they do this correctly, I think I will like the mechanics implemented in this better than this War of Mine in the world, and I feel like the top-down isometric especially just lends itself better. It's very CRPG-ish without the RPG aspects too much, if that makes sense.
Nope, sure
No?
doesn't.
Okay,
Try
cool.
that again?
No.
No? Okay.
Figure it out for yourself. They do actually compare it to this War of Mine. They say it's a blend of something between The Sims and this War of Mine. So do you like The Sims?
I do.
So, I mean, between those two games, those are two good games to blend.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
If they're blended correctly.
Right. It all depends if it's done well. And so
Yeah.
far, it looks interesting. And of course, the whole point of it is it's not just resource management, but survivor management of the people. So there's a lot of risk reward things like, okay, well, I need this to survive. However, if I go get it, I might get killed by something out there. Might step on a landmine or something. Who knows? Their features are as follows: dystopian take on the life sim genre. You can adapt. They have unique characters which you can adapt to as a player by using their specific needs and skills. And centering your gameplay around that. So there's replayability depending on who your survivors are, and you have to change how you play around that. There is base building, which I always like too. I definitely appreciate base building. So you're not only just trying to survive, but because these are kids, you're trying to turn it into a place for kids, to make them happier, because they shouldn't have to live in this bullshit. So they say, turn a war zone into a playground. That's a chipper take on that. Of course, there's crafting, so you can craft tools and whatnot, scavenging, and resource management. And the city that you end up in is procedurally generated with emergent storytelling. So again, replayability, which is always cool too, if you particularly like the game. I also like the art style. I think there could be a little bit more because of the top-down isometric tends to kind of let you get away with less detail.
Sure.
Close up.
Makes sense.
But they have some like GIFs and stuff on the page that some of those could maybe use a little bit of polish, but it's not horrible looking. I could see it could be made better. Currently, they have pledges from €1, which is $1.16, which is just simply a thank you, of course, as is most, all the way up to, where is it? €16. No, that's all gone. Never mind. Hold on. €2,000, which is $2,315, where you get to become a playable character in the game, which is pretty cool. And they actually model you as a kid in the game for $2,000. You can also design an in-game character trait. Your name is going to be on a monument. See, it says that they also have a homemade night with a unique batch of homemade drinks and food. Okay, so I guess you could visit them, or maybe they send it to you. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they can send it to you. I think it's illegal. But they'll make shit for you. They'll make food and drinks for you. And
Just give you the recipes, fucking Blue Apron style.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Here's all the ingredients. Here's
Figure it out.
Make it yourself.
Have a chore.
Yeah.
It says they're also throwing a bunch of extra physical goodies in a unique boxed edition of the game, signed including the toy box and the propaganda pack. I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, I think that might be some translation error. And of course, you get all the other rewards from the lower tiers, which is listed in the thing. And it's a lot of stuff that you actually get for $2,000, which better be $2,000 a lot. To actually get the game, the lowest that you would have to you'd have to back is
21 for the early order.
$21, 18 euros.
Yeah,
for the order of the game, which is
and then
not
the
bad.
one up from that is 35. So we could probably guess this game will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of like $30 when it's actually released for the public.
$20 to $30, yeah, somewhere in there.
So
It's not too bad.
That's a decent price if they deliver on what they're claiming they're going to deliver on. I mean,
yeah.
What else have they done? Do they have any backing, like portfolio?
Well, let's find out. Let's see.
Let's.
Black Flag
Studio blackflag.com.
There you go.
Studio. What? We have what is this?
I think you're getting there faster than me.
So we have a game called, God, it's going to be another one of those I can't pronounce. YRMINSUL. Yminsul? Yarminsel? Yarminsel.
Irminsel? Ear? I would pronounce it.
I hate it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's only got 7 user reviews on Steam.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, here's to hoping that this game is a big success for them.
Sure. I mean,
It's kind of a cute look to the other game.
Yes.
Anyway, I believe... they list some other inspirations of the game. So we mentioned The Sims and this War Mine. They also say that some of the gameplay is inspired by Fallout Shelter, which I believe would be like the base building aspect, and The Last Stand Dead Zone. Isn't that a Flash game, or did they come out with like an actual game?
I have no idea.
And then the story and the universe aspect of it comes from The Grave of the Fireflies, Akira, Lord of the Flies, Blade Runner, Shadowrun, and the Sprawl trilogy, which is kind of cool. Lord of the Flies fucked me up good when I read that.
Yep.
That made me really uncomfortable. Poor Piggy.
Oh, Piggy.
And then, of course, there's you can level up which it comes like the partial RPG aspect of it. You can level up the orphans throughout the game and explore. There was a game that we covered a long time ago called Rebuild 3, which started off as a Flash game and then it released a full-blown thing. It seems like the exploration might work like that did a little bit. For those of you that know that game, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that there's something that you can get right now called Orphan Age Diaries, which is a companion game to Orphan Age, which is basically an interactive graphic novel, like an interactive story, which is pretty cool. You take the you're playing as the character Farouk, who was left alone in his apartment trying to blend in with a group of orphans he recently met. And depending on how you play through the game, very Twine-ish in this way, I guess, there's different endings, different fates and endings and everything like that, which is pretty cool. You can get that right now for, I think, for free. I'm not sure.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Anything else you want to talk about Orphan Age for?
Like most things, I have high hopes for it, but I don't know. I'm weary now. I've been burned too many times, so I'm not the good person. I'm not the right person to ask.
You're not ready to go back into another relationship.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you could go back for?
Free fun?
Nope. Nope.
No?
Nope.
Are we going mobile?
We're going mobile. This week on Going Mobile, we're talking about a game called Fern Flower.
Fern Flower?
By Macaque. How do you pronounce that? It's a parrot. Macaque?
Sure.
I mean, it just sounds like you're saying macaque.
Which you are.
Like a Bostonian.
That's fine.
Is that what they're called, Bostonians? I don't know English anymore.
I don't know.
Anyway.
People from Boston.
Yep. No one likes you. I'm just kidding. So you play as this, what would you call him? I guess Fern Flower, sure. He looks like a deer god. But you're making the character jump up this black area, which is, I guess, a tree of some sort, and collecting these little orbs and trying not to fall in through the gaps. So it's basically one of those it's like Downfall, except not down.
It's like Vertical Brick.
Sure.
Or Amazing Brick. That's the name of the game.
I don't know what that is.
Did you play? What was the game the guy made after Flappy Bird? Something Copters.
Did he make a game after Flappy Bird?
Yeah, he did. It failed. But basically, it's a Flappy Bird version, but you're going vertical. So like, there's still physics as you're going upwards. It's a lot like that.
Huh. Okay.
So rather than like the physics of gravity pulling you down, it's the gravity moving you from left to right. You're trying to climb instead of move to the right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yes. It's not good.
So it's a pretty simple game. I think it's actually kind of interesting. I don't fully understand the physics, or maybe I'm just not good at it. Obviously, you can't touch the gaps or whatever else you're going to fall. But if you can make it, like if you fall through a gap and then, like you just saw it there, fall through a gap and land on the black part below the gap, you can still keep going and try again. If you fall off screen, then you're screwed. I guess you can jump over some of the gaps, but I feel like you don't jump high enough to do that sometimes.
It's probably a pressure thing, so the longer you hold your finger down, the farther you'll jump.
Maybe. Like, they just did it there, but like that was barely, like they can't get it quite up far enough. There we go. They fell back down. Anyway, Fern Flower, pretty simple game, available for Android and iOS, as most games are
nowadays.
Have you or will you play this? Hey, look, a frozen deer.
Yeah, I'd probably play this.
Yeah. Lies.
I like games like this.
You download it right now, and you play it until 4 in the morning, or else.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I can download it right now.
And then immediately delete it. Anyway.
I'll download it right now, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay, whatever you say. Anyway, that was Fern Flower by Mchach. I don't know why I added like that. What's that called?
It's just an old man grump.
No, like the Hebrew, like.
Oh, like of Yiddish? I don't know what that's called.
I know there's a name for it, but anyway.
Yeah.
Macaque, whatever you want to call it. This is the end of the show now. If you appreciate what we do, please consider supporting us various different ways. Patreon.com/Indie Game Riot, or you can just support us right here on Twitch, as a couple of people have done. And thanks once again to Eric, and who supports the show. Instead of me paying him, he pays us.
There you go.
That's how you run a business. Just kidding, it's not a business. Anyway.
It's a joke.
Yeah. And prep as well. So thank you so much for that. So if you have like a Twitch Prime subscription, you get a free, or an Amazon Prime subscription, same difference. You get a free channel subscription that you can just give. You don't have to pay any money, but you can support a channel of your choice, which is pretty cool. Thank you for doing that, or bits or whatever you want to do. Other ways that you can help us is by checking us out on Twitter and sending us things like news or games to check out, people to interview, such and such. We're on Twitter at IGR Podcast or Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. And of course, you can email us that stuff, contact@indiegameriot.com. We also have a Discord.
We do.
I don't plug it a whole lot.
You should.
But the invite button things are below the stream / in the record or in the description. You can join us there, and I actually just installed a giveaway bot to the thing so we can do giveaways on Discord. And we had our first winner tonight. No, you did not. You never will, because you already get games for free sometimes. So, yeah. Any last words?
Man, just do not back Kickstarter games. Just don't do it.
Except for the one that we talked about. Support the devs. Eric's going to be donating 100 euros. So
that's like $20, right?
That's like $80.
No, it's the other way.
No, it'd be like $120.
Yeah. It's the U.S. dollars for shit. So
thanks.
There you go. Yeah.
Government.
Thanks everybody.
Yep. Thanks, Obama.
We're super excited to be here. With everything.
I'm not going to go there. Anyway. Say your goodbyes.
Goodbye.
Toodles.